The call came in just after dawn. Room 12. Blue Lantern Motel. Male. Unresponsive. Those calls usually mean one of three things: overdose, suicide, or a heart that gave up quietly in the night. Roadside motels collect those endings the way gutters collect rain. Nobody stays long. Nobody asks questions. But the desk clerk's voice had a hitch in it. And when I asked why he'd called police before an ambulance, he said one sentence that stuck. The room looks prepared. I arrived 20 minutes later. The Blue Lantern sat off the highway like it had been forgotten on purpose. 1 floor. 12 doors. Flickering sign that hummed like a tired insect. The kind of place where cameras don't work and no one complains. Room 12 was at the far end. No tape yet. No crowd. Just a uniformed officer standing stiffly by the door, like he didn't trust the room behind him. "You're gonna want gloves," he said. I already had them on. The door wasn't forced. No splintering. No pry marks. The lock clicked open like it was proud of itself. The first thing that hit me wasn't smell. It was order. The bed was made. Hospital tight. Corners folded sharp enough to cut paper. The cheap motel blanket smoothed flat, no wrinkles, no dip where someone might have slept. 2 pillows. Perfectly aligned. That alone was wrong. Motel beds never look like that unless someone makes them look like that. I stepped inside. The curtains were open just enough to let in the gray morning light. Not wide. Not closed. Intentional. The kind of opening someone chooses so the room doesn't feel watched, but also doesn't feel sealed. The air was clean. Not cleaning chemical clean. Just neutral. Like nothing had happened here at all. The bathroom door was open. Dry sink. Dry mirror. Dry shower. No towels on the floor. No damp bath mat. No steam haze on the glass. Housekeeping hadn't touched the room. I confirmed that before I came in. Shift logs backed it up. Which meant if someone showered here, they did it somewhere else. And if someone cleaned, they didn't use water. The body was on the floor near the foot of the bed. Male. Mid-40s. Dressed. Shoes on. Shirt tucked in. Hands at his sides like he'd been placed there instead of falling. No blood. No sign of struggle. No overturned furniture. The chair was tucked in. The nightstand held a lamp centered. The TV remote lay parallel to the edge like it had been measured. I crouched. His eyes were open. Fixed. The kind of stare that tells you death didn't surprise him. It arrived already expected. I checked for lividity. That's when the room started lying. The discoloration on his back suggested he'd been face down for hours. But here he was, flat on his back, like he'd been arranged for viewing. Post-mortem movement. Someone had repositioned him. I stood slowly and let my eyes travel again. Not looking for chaos. Looking for control. No fingerprints on the light switch. No smudges on the mirror. No footprints on the tile. The trash can was empty. Liner clean. No tissues. No wrappers. Nothing someone would normally throw away after a night in a motel. The man had a wallet. Cash untouched. Phone gone. Not stolen. Removed. I stepped back and took in the whole scene. This wasn't panic cleanup. Panic leaves mistakes. Missed spots. Water stains. Overcleaned areas that scream guilt. This was restraint. Someone knew exactly what investigators notice first and what they don't. They didn't wipe the door handle too much. Didn't over-polish surfaces. Didn't bleach the bathroom and leave a chemical trail. They erased presence, not evidence. That takes time. And confidence. I asked the officer when the body was found. "About an hour ago," he said. "Clerk says the guest didn't check out." When a knock. Door opened easy. Unlocked. Another choice. I walked to the window and looked out at the parking lot. One car remained. An older sedan. Dust on the hood. No fresh tire marks near it. Whoever left did it clean. I turned back to the room and noticed something small. Too small to be accidental. The motel Bible sat on the nightstand. Centered. But upside down. I didn't touch it. I just stared. Because people who reset rooms don't do that by mistake. They leave one thing wrong. On purpose. To see if we're paying attention. I stepped out and pulled the door closed behind me. Seal it, I said. The officer nodded. As the tape went up, one thought stayed with me, louder than all the rest. This man didn't die here. He was finished somewhere else. This room? This was the final edit. And whoever did it wasn't done yet. By noon, the room had stopped pretending. CSI lights cut through the neatness. Blue and white beams crawled over surfaces that had been wiped just enough to feel honest. The kind of clean that doesn't brag. I stood back and let the team work. First rule in scenes like this: don't rush to confirm what you already think you know. Let the room contradict you. Let it confess on its own. The mattress came off the bed. That's when the lie collapsed. The fitted sheet was clean. So clean it almost passed. But the bare mattress underneath told a different story. A faint discoloration near the center. Not blood. Not fluid. Compression. A body had been here for hours. Long enough for heat to settle. Long enough for death to arrive and stay. He died on that bed. Not the floor. Someone moved him after. The coroner confirmed it minutes later. Time of death put him squarely in the early hours of the morning. Between 1 o'clock and 3 a.m. The clerk swore no one entered or exited the room after midnight. Which meant the person who reset this place didn't leave right away. They stayed. I walked back into the bathroom. The drain was clean. But under the rim of the sink, barely visible without a mirror, was a single dark fleck. Too small to see unless you were looking for something you hoped wasn't there. Dried blood. Transferred. Someone had washed their hands carefully. Slowly. But they'd missed the underside. Not panic. Fatigue. I checked the trash again. Empty. Except it wasn't. Inside the liner, pressed flat against the plastic, was a faint rectangular impression. About the size of a phone. Someone had wrapped it in tissue before removing it. They didn't want it rattling on the way out. The victim's identity came back fast. Name: Marcus Hale. Sales rep, married. 2 kids. No criminal record. No known enemies. But his phone records told another story. 2 days before his death, he received a call from a prepaid number. Lasted 6 minutes. No record of what was said. Just long enough to arrange something. Or someone. Security footage from the motel didn't show faces. Just silhouettes. A figure arriving at 12:47 a.m. Another leaving at 3:32 a.m. Same build. Same gait. Different posture. Whoever walked out was lighter. Unburdened. We searched the parking lot again. That's when I noticed the sedan. Dust on the hood. Yes. But the windshield? Clean. A half-moon swipe on the driver's side. Like someone had cleared condensation from the inside. The car hadn't been abandoned. It had been staged. Inside, the seats were vacuumed. No personal items. No registration. No prints. Except one. On the inside of the trunk latch. The person who cleaned the scene didn't drive away. They left on foot. Someone local. Someone who knew the motel's blind spots. Knew the clerk's habits. Knew the cameras were dead. I went back to the Bible. Still upside down. I opened it carefully. Inside, tucked between the pages of Ecclesiastes, was a single motel keycard. Not for room 12. Room 7. Occupied. That's when the room stopped being a puzzle and started being a message. If you're listening this far, stay with me. What comes next is the detail that breaks the case, and it only works if you catch it. Room 7 belonged to Housekeeping. One of them lived here. Paid monthly. Came and went unnoticed. Cleaned rooms for a living. We knocked. No answer. The door was unlocked. Inside, the room was lived in. Messy. Human. Laundry on the chair. Half-eaten food. A damp towel on the floor. And a phone on the bed. Marcus Hale's phone. Cleaned. Reset. But not wiped deep enough. Deleted messages recovered. Photos. Marcus didn't meet a stranger that night. He met someone he trusted. Someone who knew how to erase themselves. The last photo on the phone wasn't of him. It was of room 12. Taken at 2:58 a.m. The bed was visible. And on it, the Bible, right side up. Which meant after the photo was taken, someone went back. They flipped it. Not to confuse us. To confirm we were watching. The housekeeper was arrested 2 hours later trying to board a bus out of town. No bag. No explanation. When asked why she cleaned the room so carefully, she said something that still bothers me. I didn't clean it, she said. I corrected it. Marcus had discovered something. Something he shouldn't have. The meeting went wrong. The death wasn't planned. The cleanup was. Because people who live in the background learn one thing better than anyone else. What looks normal. What looks untouched. And what investigators assume belongs. The Blue Lantern Motel reopened 3 days later. Same rooms. Same beds. Same flickering sign. Room 12 still gets rented. Most guests say it feels calm. Like nothing bad ever happened there. And that's the most dangerous kind of lie. This is Silent Evidence Files. If you notice what others overlook, subscribe. The quiet details are always the ones that speak last.